2, 1, and go.
You know why we're here. It's time for Boost, Booze, and Barbecue. And we are back with another 3BQ. How you doing, Coy?
Good.
You were just telling me that you are going to make a pilgrimage out to the desert.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go see where Jesse Combs like to drive
Sadly,
jet karts.
Yes. Yeah. Hot springs out there, huh?
A couple of them. Yeah. Yeah, and I know everything's closed because of the virus, but there's like one cop per 500 acres. Like, I don't know, more than that, 500,000 acres out there. There's no one there.
All right, fair enough.
I feel like the chances of them finding me in the desert is slim.
Sure. Yeah, you're riding a horse through the desert with no name.
Yeah, no, I'm going full outlaw.
I like it, man.
They'll never catch me alive.
Well, that's very cool. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
Wish I
Steel
was doing
horse
that.
I ride. So
Because you're wanted, dead or alive.
Yeah.
We really should not start this, you know?
Well, it will
this,
be.
This is a bad way to start an episode. We're not actually doing this one live. We're recording this one because Coy's going to be gone in the desert, but I still don't want to redo this stuff. So whatever stupid stuff he says, it's just going to stay in the show this time.
Stan, every time.
So let's go ahead and start off with the booze of the day. This is something that I wanted to try for a while, and I'm having mixed feelings about. Have you tried this yet?
I haven't, but I'm excited to.
Let's go ahead and give it a pour here. This is
the Kraken limited edition Black Roast Coffee Rum.
Yeah.
And I generally, I don't know that I've had a coffee rum I didn't like yet.
Yeah, we'll see how you feel about this one.
And wow, that is... I mean, that is almost... They've colorized.
Yeah.
This stuff, I don't know if you can see it. It is blacker than black.
It kind of looks like charcoal in water.
Yeah, it's got like activated charcoal in it and squid ink or something. It is almost purple.
I'm not sure what to say about the color, honestly.
The color freaks me out a little bit.
When I poured this last night after I bought it, a little bit dripped onto my white countertop, and as I looked at it, I thought, that is unappealing.
Yeah, not natural.
No. I was hesitant to try it after I saw the color, but, in the name of science...
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Tastes like coffee.
I'm working it around here. I'm going for a third.
It honestly tastes like espresso. You know the chocolate-covered espresso beans? It kind of has that thing going on to me.
It's pretty good. I like it.
You're not off-put by the color.
I'm off. No, I'm off-put by the color. That's why I had to taste it multiple times. The color is freaking weird, but it tastes good. Like it's very viscous. It's thick.
That's what she said?
Yeah, it's so thick. God, that's thick.
See, I'm actually a big fan of Kraken. Just straight up the black Kraken rum.
Yeah,
I am. I'm a huge fan, and I'll get drunk on that pretty easily.
Yeah. Just so people know, this is nothing like the straight up Kraken, the regular Kraken.
And quite frankly, I don't think this is Kraken with coffee in it. I think this is a whole other thing.
Yeah, no, it's nothing like. I mean, it has a Kraken on the label.
Right.
But that's where the similarities end.
You had a similarity to the Kraken because you got cracked in the head today.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I don't know if you can see. I got a nice little welt and a little red dot, and I'm not practicing any new religions here or anything. It's well, we've all been there, and as I've said before, the most emotion a man will ever show in his life is when he snaps a bolt off.
Oh, and speaking of, producer Nick, we do have a photo of that snapped off bolt. Why don't you go ahead and pull that up?
Well, that's the finished. I should have took photos beforehand.
Right there, you just passed. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the three pieces in the bolt extractor, and T-handle or whatever that part is called.
That is quite unfortunate, Coy.
It was not cool. I was straight up not having a good time, bro. Straight up not having a good time.
Well, so what happened?
Well, like a fool, I thought I'll just quick do an oil change on Sunday. There we go. That's the dot on my forehead after the bleeding stopped. So, and on FJ Cruisers, you got to drop the skid plate to get it through oil pan. It's no big deal. 6 bolts. It's not a big deal unless one of them snaps off. So I'm undoing the bolts in the last one. I can feel it. It's getting tight. I'm like, I don't like that, and I kind of run it back in. I go get some penetrating oil and hit the back two that were kind of feeling a little funky, and it's a boxed frame with the bolt welded on the inside. So I always try to be careful, because that bolt, once it's gone, then you kind of nuzzer and you can do things, but once it's gone, and it's a nightmare. So I'm kind of working it, and I kind of work the one, and I get it all the way out, comes out, run a tap through it, clean it up, and at that point I'm like, I'm gonna run down, I'll buy all new bolts. They're getting grungy, and I'll anti-seize them and stick new bolts in. And the last one, it's getting kind of nasty, and I'm like, I'll run it back in and put some more penetrating oil, and I start running back in, and then it's hard and then gets too easy.
Oh yeah.
That feeling. And so the bolt head snaps off. So then I went ahead and dropped the skid plate. And I had about, half inch or so of bolt sticking out. So I said, no big deal. I'll get some channel locks on this sucker, and I'll work it back and forth. We'll get her out. So I put the channel locks on it. And then I kind of worked a little bit, and that's not tight enough. So I go to pop off channel locks, vice grips, I guess I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Pop those off, and, when you got them down tight and you spring them open, they kind of violently open, and which it did, and then smashed me in the face because I'm laying under a vehicle. And, I didn't even realize bleeding until my child was like, "Hey, you're bleeding," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I am." So the vice grips, I ended up getting those back on, and this is an emotional time for me. Like I'm straight up not having a good time.
Yeah, you're not feeling particularly well about the whole thing.
No, I'm just really hoping that this comes out well. But I was feeling good because I had so much sticking out, and I snapped that off flush then. So now I really had to bear down. I had to go full Vulcan and just push away all emotion.
Yeah.
Just completely go to my Zen place.
Well, yeah, because otherwise your kid was going to go over the field goal.
Yeah. It was, I was going to burn my shop down, and like I was seeing red for a minute, and then I kind of count to 10. Okay, so I said, all right, now I'm in a bad place. So I got to do everything by the book, and I got to take my time, and I got to be patient. So I get out the center punch. I ding that thing real good, just get it right in the center, ding it real good. I get a small bit, get it in that ding, and start it centered. Then I get the right size bit, run it in, and I mean it's just dropping metal shavings right in my face. I'm trying to push up from the floor with a drill, straight up not having a good time. And I drilled and drilled and drilled. And usually when I go to use a nut extractor, I like to drill in where I think it's enough and then stick it in and it's not. And I strip that out some more. And then it's just a vicious cycle. I drilled till I was clear through the bolt and out the other side. Then I went to town. I bought the exact right size for that bit instead of just getting one close. And I beat that thing in there and I worked it out. And I bought all new bolts. And my oil change only took 5 hours. Said and done.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so like I said, it's on me for wanting to do an oil change just real quick on a Sunday. And it had been longer than I care to admit since I had done an oil change on my FJ Cruiser, so it was time. And I was like, I got to do it. I'm doing it right now. I'm going on a 6-hour drive. I need to change my oil. So yeah, that was my this today.
That's amazing.
Oh, I was amazed.
I don't have anything to top that with, honestly.
No, it wasn't cool.
We built a play structure for my goats, so you have a little goat tree going on. They all like to climb up in there, and then they poop all over it. And then they don't want to be on it anymore because it's covered in poop, and they just look at you like, are you going to clean this up? Like, hop to, garçon, snap, snap.
Of course.
Oh, I did have a real fun thing happen. Did an oil change on my lawnmower.
Nice.
You and I have talked about this before. This was a week ago, though. This was middle of last week. Lawn care equipment, getting oil changes. Little bit of a hairy subject because it tends to not happen, right?
Yeah. No.
I mean, unless you own a landscaping company, you're not really changing the oil all that often. But I'm trying to take good care of my stuff, though, and so I'm trying to do the right thing and change the oil like once a year at least, right?
Yeah.
I know I've talked about this on the show before, but it still bothers me every single time. You can't get the oil out of that without it spilling all down the frame rails.
Yeah, no, the drain plugs on those aren't really meant to drain.
No, they're not. And then the oil goes back in to a very specific spot that's difficult to get to. And if you put too much in, well, now you got to drain more out. And guess what I did?
You put too much in.
Yeah, put too much in.
You know, you need to invest in one of those little siphon suction pump things.
Oh, yeah.
And then just, you pump it in, pump it out. Go do your oil change, just suck 90% of it out.
There are some cars that need that.
Yeah.
Don't they? Some Mercedes, I think, that's the only way to do the oil changes.
I can't remember there are some cars now that do that, and even like my FJ Cruiser, the transmission only the machine can do it. You can't. There's a drain plug, but there's no there's no dipstick or anything.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's kind of not a sealed, but there's no.
Yeah, no, that's called a sealed. They call it a sealed system.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you're supposed to change the transmission fluid every 100,000 in those, and you bring it in. They undo some hoses and hook them to machine, and it just pumps it through, and then they plug it back in, and it's done.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those dialysis machines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like when you are going to hypersleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to pump all your blood
you're going
out.
to a distant sun, and they just pump the blue antifreeze in you, and then the machine kicks on when you get there. Yeah. We've all seen the movie.
There are people that pay outrageous amounts of money to have their bodies frozen, and I know they do something similar like that. And I mean, the classic trope is what happens when the power goes out in that company, right?
Well, I would think there's a backup generator.
I bet not. Because think about, this is a modern day snake oil, Coy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's part of the snake oils. You have to have a backup generator. That's not even that big of a deal to add a backup generator. I mean, you get a natural gas powered generator. It bolts on the side of the building. It's $10,000 or so, and moving on. Backup Jenny.
Okay, but the same person that is selling life after death via freezing, cryo freezing,
mm-hmm.
are they really like, oh yeah, we're definitely investing in all of the appropriate equipment?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you're trying to sell it, you got to sell it for real. And then once they're dead, you wait 10 years and then you dump it, Maybe.
I mean, they're definitely talking about you can just freeze your head alone. That's cheaper than the whole body. But mm-hmm. How do you sever the head and keep it alive? Like, what if we find out 50 years from now, you can keep a severed head alive, but the whole spinal cord has come with it?
Oh, that's just going to suck for them. Just be like, wow, been nice if they had paid the whole price.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So close. I don't
know. If you were
what if 20 years from now we find out that we can have like a DNA computer, but we need a deceased human brain?
Oh.
And I mean, this computer is going to be insanely powerful. Mm-hmm. Change the world stuff. Mm-hmm. Fight wars, fly starships, things like that.
Upload your consciousness to.
Well, no, not really that. But I'm just saying, like, I need to calculate a wormhole jump, but I need an insane computer, and it's going to be a DNA-based computer. But I need a human brain to run this. It's going to be nice to have Snake Oil say he's been around and just be like, hey, this guy was a professor at Harvard, and he just froze his head, and obviously he's not coming back. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just play this out here real quick. Wait, he was dumb enough to fall for this? What was he a professor of? Oh, underwater basket
Political
weaving.
Science.
Something worthless. I'm just saying, that's not going to be your best and the brightest that are getting their heads frozen.
You don't need the best and the brightest. You just need a machine. You know what I mean? Just because they were interested in anthropology in real life doesn't mean that your computer will be.
Yeah, but if they were not the brightest person in the world, then maybe we should have a different brain. Or maybe it doesn't matter.
That's probably the brightest brain you're going to get without stealing one from, like, finding an engineer and doing some Russian stuff, you know?
Hey, I'm not above it. We have the technology, apparently.
Just saying, 20 years from now.
So here's the thing: if your brain is uploaded to a computer, right?
Right.
So now you can do anything. Does it even matter whether or not it goes into another body here? Because you can essentially do everything you want in that virtual space, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm on the internet, what would I want a body for?
That's exactly what I'm saying, right?
There's thousands of naked bodies on the internet.
Well, I just keep thinking, I could upload my brain, have it downloaded into a new body, and I could be like an F1 driver or something. Well, you don't need to. I can just jump into Gran Turismo 21 or whatever we have at that point.
Or you could just jump into a Tesla that's already has autopilot. Guess who's driving now?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That sounds like a good movie title, Guess Who's Driving Now? But it'd be a horror because you'd just be driving down the highway and all of a sudden you're locked out.
Oh, it's like a future Uber. You get dead people that load themselves on the internet that then drive a car around for you.
Yes, but one of the car accidentally got the brain of an undiscovered...
Gay serial killer.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly where I was going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was driving a Mercury Mistress.
That's what you're going for with gay serial killer?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
It's just a serial killer. There is some sexual assault that's
he's killed gays.
Oh,
that's his name, is the gay serial killer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was because he drove a Tesla.
No, I don't know what he does. Like, he can bang whoever he wants. I'm just saying this. Serial killers always kill a certain type.
Sure.
And I'm guessing this dude drove a Pontiac Aztek. It makes sense as a serial killer. Cops don't pull him over.
Yeah.
You can stack bodies in the back of those, straight up stack bodies.
And has anything ever looked more like a car that they put in an 80s movie that was about the future?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
Producer Nick, back me up here. Yeah, he's giving me the nod. Like, yeah, that's a good point.
I might do like Plymouth Prowler would be right there on scope with that.
For the rich, not for the taxis.
No, not for taxis, but I'm saying as a car that looked like it was future, like what somebody thought futuristic was supposed to look like, even though it's not.
Well, I can definitely tell you a 3.5 liter V6 that only makes 220 horsepower, definitely not the future.
No. The other one was the SSR pickup. That like convertible one that was like kind of cool, but the design was like throwbacky, futuristic-y. I don't even know.
Would you pull up one of those for us? Go ahead and do the SSR pickup. I actually like these a lot. I would take one of these. The thing is it's hard to find an LS2 model with the manual transmission.
I will tell you the best looking one I have ever seen was in a movie about the future, but he had one of these hot rodded, like it was an old car in that movie.
That's not bad. Do that purple one with the top down too. Yeah, these SSR pickups, and you're right, they have a very old-timey look. I mean, if I was going to put a year on it, I'd do like 1932 to 1934 because it's got the rounded fenders and the headlights. See if you can find an underhood pick as well. But the top came down. It was a convertible.
Yeah, it was like a hard top convertible. The top dumps into under the tonneau cover into the bed.
But it's not like it was taken up completely by the hard top. It was, as a matter of fact, some people might even say that it was an effective pickup because it could do some towing. It could do a little bit of hauling. It's not like you do a whole ton with it. That's not what it was meant to do anyways. But yeah, they were equipped with LS1s, LS2s. Basically, look at the Pontiac GTO, the years for the GTO. Yep. The LS1 motors versus the LS2 motors in those, it kind of followed the same pattern with the SSR. You had the LS1 in the early ones and then LS2s in the later ones. But I'll tell you what, man, 6-speed manual in one of these, I'm telling you,
it'd be fun.
I'd
Nick,
rock it.
One more Google search. Look up Chevy SSR, the Island.
Yes, the good doctor bringing in some coffee, which is spilling all over you. Great job.
This is the best looking one I've seen anywhere because this movie was in the not so far away future, but this was like an old car in there, and this dude was like a hot rod. It was like this old hot rod he had built, but it's a Chevy SSR. Thought it was cool.
The irony is, if they were actually doing like an old hot rod, it would be a clapped out S13 with an LS6 in it.
It would be like the ugly Pontiac GTOs, like a 2005 Pontiac GTO. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a ton of pictures online, but I mean, it's back ends up, front ends dumped, old school, kind of flat black and the flat orange flames. Hood scoop. Nothing real special, but it was kind of cool.
But again, listen, 400 horsepower, man.
Yeah, and sadly, I don't understand, still not the fastest production truck.
Well, no, I mean? The SRT10 has that pretty solidly, I believe.
Yeah, but the SRT10 is just a two-wheel drive pickup with a Dodge Viper motor. It's not really anything that special.
Yeah, but it's just got a lot of horsepower.
It doesn't have that much more horsepower than those SSRs. And when you're building a SSR, that's not really a truck at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of a...
And I think it has independent rear suspension, too.
I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly have no idea if it does or doesn't. But why wouldn't you just go ahead and do something to make... all you have to do is do a limited run of 1,000 supercharged versions, and you would have the fastest truck. Pretty easily, I think.
Look, man, that's the reason why we need to be automobile manufacturers, because they don't care about this stuff. They just don't care, Coy.
I'm just saying, when the record is so easily that's a low bar. As fastest production truck, it wouldn't be a hard one to break.
Sure, yeah.
That's an easy one. Do it. Just do it.
If they just did stuff up a little bit, like literally an LS6, even just in, is it the LS9 that came factory supercharged?
I'm not sure which LS series that is. Those are rowdy and scary.
I'm pretty sure it is. It's 600 and some odd horsepower from the factory.
Yeah, no, it's the Corvette that kills people.
Yes, exactly. Throw one of those motors into an SSR pickup, done and done.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would be a SRT10 truck. My opinion.
Well, let's be realistic about this. You've been seeing what's happening with all the EcoBoost trucks, and I understand not everybody is a Ford fan, but the simple fact of it is the 3.5-liter EcoBoost with bolt-ons and a tune, and literally that's it, bolt-ons and a tune, 12 seconds all day long, mid-12s all day long.
Yeah, I mean, if Ford wanted to, there's no reason they can't make a two-wheel drive lowered Raptor. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Destroy all.
Yeah. What would you call that? Would it be the Velociraptor?
Oh. It would just make sense. You wouldn't even have to spell it that much different.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Just put a little, what's that thing called? And just E.
Yeah, the little swage, little mustache thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Raptor, Ford Raptor.
Man, how cool would that be, though? Oh my gosh.
I'd buy one.
That would be the new Ford Lightning.
It would make raping cool again.
Oh, wow. We're going all kinds of off the rails here. It's because Coy knows he's recording and he doesn't have to watch his tongue.
Would you buy a Ford Raptor?
Yeah, I'm going to start calling them Raptors now.
You're just going to call them all Raptors?
Yes.
You should.
Why
I'm
wouldn't
going
I?
to start doing that. And when people are like, it's a Raptor, I'm like, no, Google it. It's a Ford Raptor.
Listen, man, what would you pay?
If you say stuff with enough confidence, people will a lot of times agree with you. Like I've seen it happen. People have done it to me where I've been like, no, that White Snake that's not their song. That's a different band. And they're like, no, I'll bet you $100 right now. Like they just barrel in with enough confidence. And then I'm like, wow, he's willing to bet $100. Like I gotta be wrong. Like he's so confident. And then I go home and Google it or whatever. I'm like, no, he's wildly wrong. Why didn't I take that bet? So I think that we could slowly start changing it to Raptor if we just pile in with confidence.
Can I also say, though, the right accent can work too? Yeah, got me one of them Ford Raptors. See what I mean?
Yeah. I got you.
So if we just take the dual stance at it, you can just walk in and be like, yeah, it's a Ford Rapster.
No, the first ones were built in Australia.
Yeah.
It's a Raptor, mate.
Oh, snap. We're on to something now.
Yeah. And they'll just be like, yeah, but I'm like, that's where they're built.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I'm sure they weren't first built in Australia, but who's gonna know?
They were first conceived. Huh?
Illegitimately conceived
Just like everything else in
under duress
Australia.
in Australia. Yeah.
All right, I would love to be the engineer at Ford, though, that's like, you guys, I want to introduce you to the all-new Lightning. We take the 3.5 EcoBoost, you know, the brand muffins, the GT12s that we have on them, chuck those. I was just talking to Gail Banks. We've got a pair of GTX 2876Rs, 2 of those bad boys, 1 on each side. They don't build boost until 4,000 RPM. But I have good news. This motor, I changed the cam profiles on. It revs to 8,200 RPM.
I'd be behind it. In fact, if they're just like, hey, remember that 3-liter that we had in the Ford GT40 that our prototype at Le Mans, and then we made a couple of them, sold them for insane amount of money because then they made a movie, and then those guys all sold the ones they had for more money. We took that motor and we street tuned it, and then we put it in a pickup.
Yes. Actually, no, don't street tune it.
Well, I'm being realistic.
Screw it. Instead of 18 pounds of boost, it'll be 14
Street
pounds of
tuned
boost.
on the Ford Performance website. The GT40 dude is available for download.
Yes.
Like, it does void your warranty. Just to know, it is available for download though. Android and Apple apps, and you can just wirelessly straight to that computer. But avoid your warranty. But it's super easy. Yeah,
Dude.
Wildly easy, but it will void your warranty.
There are so many people that would just instantly have voided warranties.
It would be a win-win.
Why would you even offer a warranty with that thing?
Well, there's no point anyways, because when you have a truck that's two-wheel driving that fast, 90% of them are getting wrapped around something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Either they're pile driving guardrails, they're going sideways through a car lot, or they're cutting telephone poles off about 6 feet off the ground. So why warranty anything?
There's teeth stuck in the telephone pole. Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Hey, he had braces.
Kind of famously, actually, Mazda's rotary pickup, those didn't come with warranties.
Well, not many of the rotaries should have came with warranties. If we're being totally honest.
That's fair. That's fair. Actually, it's funny. My dad talks about, because he was a little bit of a muscle car guy when he was young. Of course, gave it all up, but the DNA still stayed with me. But he talked about how his neighbor was one of the first people he'd ever met that was working on the rotary motors, and he went out and bought a brand new Repu truck. They took the thing apart, they did a big port job on it, put the whole thing back together, and would start going out to the gut, whatever it was in Portland. I think he said it used to be like Milwaukee Avenue or something like that.
Yeah.
And put some fat meats on the back of this truck and just started racing all the muscle car guys.
Yeah, when I was a kid, one of my friend's dad had one, and I don't know, something broke on it, and it sat kind of off in the side yard, little rotary powered black Mazda pickup. And he eventually, just some dude driving by saw it, and he sold it to him for like $600 when I was like 14.
Yeah, be nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, if he could have just held off 2.5 years, like I would have been like, hey man, I am $600.
I will gladly rake that thing out of your yard.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Like between 14, I had $20 a year that I got on my birthday. As soon as I got 16, I had a job, and $600. You know, I wasn't pulling down bank, but for a vehicle, I would have came up with $600, especially one that was probably worth more, and now definitely worth a lot more.
A lot more now, yeah. The thing I do have to remind myself though is, you know, the muscle cars of old, they weren't exactly, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fast comparatively, right? But a 67 Camaro RS, with the 350 small block, that was like a mid 14-second car.
Yeah, no, a good V6 Maxima would probably beat it now.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it is, you know, there's all of this, I don't know, provenance and all of this history and the build-up and the pop and the circumstance, right, about these older muscle cars, but realistically, they weren't all that fast. I mean, if you took a factory 69 something or other, put new tires on it, ran, you know, today's gas in it and stuff like that, I'm sure, you know, the highest end Camaro SS, Copo Camaro, right? Probably, I don't know, mid 12s. And again, we were just talking about the new Ford pickup's doing that with the tune.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so comparatively. I mean, nowadays even slow stuff is fast.
Right.
I mean, it's sad. It's honestly just sad. I mean, there's a bunch of Hyundais and Kias that'll beat what most of the old cool, what we think fast muscle cars are.
Right. Oh, your Honda, I'll blow that thing away. Hang on, what motor's in that? Oh, a K series? Any K series? Ah, crap. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how fast cars are now, if you really sit down and think about it.
Wasn't it you were telling me that the reason why K swaps are starting to get a lot more popular is because they spin the correct direction? Honda motors always used to...
Yeah, so... Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
No, actually, you know what? It was Ryan at Clutch Kick Radio. He was talking to me about it.
Well, I know, like, so you can swap, like, K-Series and MR2s, but none of the other Honda motors because...
Yeah, they spin in the opposite direction. Yeah. That's a really interesting thing, because I've always wondered why more Honda motors didn't find themselves in stuff.
Well, it's because you got to take the whole transmission with it.
Right. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, whereas... Obviously, K-Series transmissions, can put those in whatever, but there's no adapter plates for putting a K-Series to a B-Series transmission,
Do you remember that video that I had? And it's down off of YouTube now. You can't find it because they pulled it down. Somebody flagged it. But it was the Angry Redneck video series. Yeah. And I did my whole thing of these little rasp grinders, these Hondas.
Yeah.
So you've got an extra cam profile where you got the small cam. It gives you good fuel economy. And then it switches over and it gives you more power. Well, my Camaro, it makes power all the time. That was a pretty funny video, I thought.
So you put this turbo here instead of a headlight sticking out of the front, and this intercooler is supposed to make the air colder, and then the cold air is supposed to get forced into the motor. Then this extra injector adds fuel in the manifold, and then it makes power, and magic happens.
Front wheel drive? Why in the hell would you make the front tires drive the car?
What in tarnation? Yeah.
That was a great video. We got to resurrect some of those. You know that?
I just liked the comments because it was like 75% of the people were like, "This dumb redneck, he doesn't know imports," and then like 25% of them been like, "This dude knows exactly what he's talking about. He's describing VTEC way too accurately." And they'd be like, they'd be looking at the car like that. There's a turbo there instead of a headlight. That's not by accident. Like this guy is not into muscle cars. Yeah. And then other people then just get on, just trash. The comments on that kind of stuff's the best.
Oh, it was the best. Finding it on different forums was my favorite. These Honda forum guys would be like, "Look at this douchebag." Hey, speaking of cool videos, though, Coy, it's time for an old segment that I used to love. I don't even know why I gave it up, quite frankly. Do you remember why we gave this up?
No.
Well, it's time to bring it back around. Producer Nick, you have that pulled up for us?
I'm ready when you are.
Let's do it.
Smokin Deal or Smokin Doobie.
We're going to try that again. Yeah. But this was always one of my favorite segments, Coy.
No, it's gold.
Oh, yeah. We call it Smokin Deal or Smokin a Doob. And basically, we go out and we find, what we find every day, which is cars that are grossly overpriced. Or just rare and obscure things where you're kind of like, why does that cost what it costs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's either grossly overpriced or it seems overpriced at first glance, and then as you stare at it longer, you start to wonder, is it?
Right.
Or is this a deal?
Right.
Like the other day, I looked at a Dodge Cummins pickup, mega cab, four-wheel drive, all the ingredients. It was a 2011, and I said, "That is way below Blue Book. I will buy that." And I called the guy and was like, "Hey, has this thing been chipped? What's up?" And of course, it was on the Facebook Marketplace, and he said, "It's gas." I said, "It clearly says 6-cylinder turbo diesel in your ad." He said, "Yeah, that's a mistake. It's a Hemi." And I said, "Well, then it is wildly overpriced. Buy."
Yeah. Wow. Was it all like Brodozer?
No, it was all stock. That was why, like, one of the reasons I was super into it. I was like, this thing is a Smokin Deal. And turned out somebody was smoking a doob when they made the ad. and wrote turbo diesel instead of Hemi, which while seems like a small mistake when we're talking about in-game price here on a used 2011 Dodge 2500, huge difference.
Speaking of people that know exactly what they're doing, you can't tell me that dude didn't do that just because he thought it was going to bring him more views.
Yep. Maybe, but I mean, if you're trying to sell a truck and a guy wants a diesel truck,
Smoking.
I feel like everybody has to be like me and just immediately be like, oh, it's gas, thanks, bye.
Yeah. All right, we got it up, right, Nick? Let's go ahead and play that intro.
Smokin Deal or Smokin Doobie.
Smokin Deal or Smokin Doobie, Coy. I'm glad to have this one back, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know why I quit doing this. We shouldn't have.
It was a mistake. What we have for you today is one that I picked out because I'm a little on the fence about it. It is a 1988 Toyota MR2. The ad says Turbo Coupe. Of course, it's not a Turbo Coupe. It is a supercharged 4AGE, which is actually the 4AGZE, excuse me. So it is the supercharged one, which is the one that you want if you're going to run out and get one of these.
It is the factory supercharged model, as I understand.
And he has on here 2-liter turbo, which of course it's not. It's a 1.6-liter supercharged. 190 horsepower when it was brand new. Would absolutely beat the pants off of the best Fiero out there.
Yeah.
The Formula Fiero.
Yeah.
And I remember the car and driver video, which of course we can't put here because they'll flag us down if we do, but I'll try to link it later on in the week so people can watch it. It's hilarious to me. It's literally the best Fiero you can get, and it gets absolutely mopped the floor with by the MR2 in everything. And then at the end, they're like, our pick, the Pontiac Fiero.
Yeah,
we like the seats. The digital dash looks very futuristic. The steering wheel has an excellent feel, even though it's vague and doesn't go where you steer it.
Yeah, they just made up a bunch of stuff to make it better.
Yeah, you can't tell me they weren't in bed with the car manufacturers.
That's another one that I always like is, and if you're into guns, there's always these gun comparisons, and eventually you'll see them comparing all these ARs and bullpups and stuff, and there'll be a SCAR in there, which is a expensive gun that everybody likes. And always when they get to that, like pros, be like, super good, super awesome. Cons, it's loud. And it's like, oh, that gun was louder than the other gun. Like, aren't all the guns pretty loud, So, yeah, you know a gun's good when people are like, yeah, it's really loud. That's the con.
Yeah. And it's scary looking. It's black.
That's tan. Super tactile.
Oh, it's tan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Terroristy.
Yeah. There is nothing terroristy about this MR2. Honestly, I love it. I mean, for 200,000 miles on the clock, it's pretty much what I would expect out of a 1988 MR2. Let's look at some of the other photos.
There's definitely some paint chips. Got a black hood. You can, the paint's in poor condition. It's T-top,
which I'm not a huge fan of.
Not a huge fan of the T-tops myself either.
See the dent in the passenger side front. I mean, it's got a little bit of damage there.
Is it just me, or are those Honda Prelude wheels?
They might be. Or Accord.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, it wouldn't be Accord. Would it be Prelude? Because wasn't the Prelude 4x114?
I'm pretty sure those are Honda wheels of some kind. Anyways, they look like crap. But, overall, it's in decent condition considering the age. It's, it needs new paint, really. I mean, the paint's not horrible. It's silver and black. Honestly, some of the worst color combo that there is.
Oh, I dig it.
I hate silver and black. Silver's just such a poor color in my choice. But
this looks like a spaceship. I love it. Honestly, it looks like it's ready to take off to them. It looks like something that somebody drew in 1986 that would be something that was flown to the moon.
Yeah. What I like is the side skirts and all the valance and stuff is actually there. The front one's cracked, but the side skirts on the side look like they're in pretty good condition. Everything looks, considering age and what it is and mileage, it looks okay condition.
That big rally wing. I don't know, man. Everything about these boxy MR2s, I love. I'm a huge fan.
And these are climbing in price right now. I don't think you can find the worst version for under $2,000. And I see ones that have been repainted and kind of redone for up in like the $8,000 range.
Really?
Yeah, kind of redone ones. I would say, but I mean those are pristine. I mean those are gorgeous show car worthy ones that you see up that high.
So this gentleman is asking $6,000 for his car. I personally am going to say Smokin' a Doob. I think it's about a $2,500 car.
Yeah,
if it's all original with 200,000 miles on it, I'm sorry, but that motor is going to need to be gone through. If I showed up and it didn't smoke, I would think there was something wrong.
I kind of have to go with you. I will give the caveat though. These are climbing in value, and the supercharged, if it's factory supercharged version, which it appears to be, those are rare. And if you come from an investment collector point, while $6,000 is too high, I mean, if you'd work the guy down to 4.5 or 5, I'm not saying I'm going to go get it, but if I'm an MR2 guy and I have to do, I want this, I'm gonna restock a 5. I'm gonna make this thing all original, beautiful,
and then park it.
And it's gonna sit in the showroom of my Toyota shop for the next 10 years. And it could be a deal for the right guy, but man, for just the layman, Doob.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 2,500. You've convinced me. I might go 3,000, but because of the body damage, because of the high mileage, because
you can pick up a supercharged 4AG motor for $1,500, and throw it in any MR2.
Yeah, that's
why I am not in there. But if for some reason you had to have the supercharged from the factory, you want matching VIN stuff. There's that little sliver, that part of the pie graph that you actually can't see. You just see the arrow pointing to the sliver.
Yeah. I'm with you. Okay, well, there it is. We're both landing on the Smokin' a Doobie. However, this is the part where you guys that know more than we do about these particular cars get to comment below. You get to send us your emails. You get to send us your hate mail and say, nope, you're wrong, or yes, 1,000%. Or maybe they're going to look at us and say, hey, dummies, that thing's worth about $600. We don't know. We're making educated assumptions here. But I want an MR2 person to reach out to us and tell us what they think about that. Coy, I'm really glad that segment's back, my friend.
Me too.
And I'm really glad that we're doing the show. We're wrapping it up a little early here, folks, because we got a couple other things to record. So we are going to go ahead and let you go. But Coy, my friend,
happy Memorial Day weekend.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. Thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. We really appreciate that. Spread the love, please. Feel free to take this show, share it out with anybody that you know that you think is going to appreciate it. And we appreciate you for doing it. So, for Coy and for producer Nick and for everyone else that makes this whole thing happen, thank you, and we will see you next time.